Well, hello, friends. Welcome back. Or if you're joining us for the first time, welcome to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you my pattern review of the Burda 6109. This is a pattern that I just recently made. So if you're joining us for the first time, I am hosting a challenge called the Sew the Trends Challenge with the lovely Martika of Martika J Makes and Talisha of Creativity T by T. And throughout the month of December, we are basically asking people in the sewing community to join us as we sew different trends that are current throughout the year of 2024. If you want to know more about the challenge, go ahead and check the description box, and I'll provide all links to my videos that talk about the challenge and what you need to do to participate in the challenge. But today we're going to focus on the Burda 6109. If this is something that's interesting to you, stick around and I will tell you more about this pattern. So I was a little bit under the weather last week and I was able to do some sewing like here and there, but I did not do like consistent sewing throughout the week last week or part of this week because I wasn't feeling too good. So I'm so thrilled to be back on my feet and sharing with you a pattern review today. And so the pattern that we're discussing is the Burda 6109, which is a super easy pattern. And because I am hosting the Sew the Trends series or challenge, I should say, I have picked out certain styles that I want to actually focus on. And one of the styles that I wanted to focus on is the basically straight sweater dress silhouette that is trending this year. And throughout the video, I'll share with you some of my ideas and my inspirations here. The photos will be here and you can see the different inspirations and pictures that I have looked at and different websites that I have went to create my own take on some of these dresses. So I'm going to go ahead and first start with the pattern review, and then I'll tell you more about my inspiration, and then you can see my garment and the inspiration side by side so you can get an idea of how I created these things. So the Burda 6109 is a super easy go-to pattern for, I believe, sweater dresses. This is going to be the easiest pattern that you can ever make, I think. It comes with 5 different pattern pieces. You do have your front, your back, your neckband, your sleeve, and then you have a kangaroo pocket. If you're doing the option with the dress, the long dress, you can put a kangaroo pocket on the front. So the kangaroo pocket is a pattern that you can omit. And so you only really need 4 pattern pieces to complete this project. The pattern you will see on the pattern cover that there are hem bands and also sleeve bands, but those are to be purchased. So you don't have pattern pieces for the sleeve band or the hem band. So they tell you to purchase ribbed knit so that you can actually achieve that look. I was a little bit sad about that. But there are different things that you can do, and I'll share with you what I did for one of my makes. If you want a band, but you don't want to go out and purchase ribbed knit, you want to use the fabric that you already have, I will share with you how I created one of my variations using the fabric that I just had on hand. So this pattern comes in sizes 8 to 18. So sizes 8 to 18 for US, and for European sizes, it's size 34 to 44. So this basically equates to about a size for the size 8, 37 inches for the bust and the waist. So it is a boxy pattern. So it's going to be whatever you get for your bust is what you're going to get for your waist as well, and also for your hips. So it's 37 inches for the bust, the waist, and the hips. And for the size 18, which is the largest size, is going to be about a 44 7/8 of an inch for your bust, your waist, and your hips. So it's not very size inclusive, but it is a decent pattern, especially for individuals who fit within that size range, who want something very simple and easy to sew. This is very much a beginner friendly pattern. So I selected the size 16 for my first variation, and that variation, you all saw that variation in my previous video when I showcased that with my my fur faux vest that I made. So that's the white turtleneck long sleeve knee length dress that I made with that one. And that was purchased, that fabric was purchased from Joann. It's an off-white creamish color rib knit, soft plush knit, and it's so fun to work with. So that was my first one. I really love the way that I paired it with the faux fur vest, and I think it looks very good. It's very trendy for both the style of the dress as well as the vest. I think it is an amazing combination together. Let's talk a little bit more about the pattern and what the pattern includes and the instructions and things of that nature before I go into my other makes. So in terms of the instructions for the pattern, you get very simple instructions. They have 9 steps to them. Very, very, in terms of the amount of instructions that you're getting is very limited, but the amount, so it's limited instructions, but the instructions are very detailed enough that you can actually get through each step with ease, especially for beginners. So I really love that. You get an English variation as well as a French and a Spanish. So you do have all those different instructions in those different languages that come with the pattern. So I really like that as well. So you get 3 different views with the pattern. You can do a view A is a top. You have, it's showing that you can make a top with a ribbed hem band and also a ribbed sleeve band. But remember, you have to purchase those 2 pieces in order to put that on your dress or your top. I'm sorry, because this is view A, it's your top. Now, if you want to use a pattern that you have already in your stash and create your own hem bands with pattern pieces you have from another top or dress, you can very well do that. You just have to make sure you take the measurements for it. And that's what I did. So I use the Simplicity S, I think it's 9385. Let me see. I'm checking my notes here. Yes, the Simplicity S 9385. So that's one of my TNT patterns. And I use 2 pattern pieces out of that. I use the turtleneck out of that pattern, and I also use the sleeve band. So if you have that pattern or a similar pattern, you can definitely use that pattern. And that pattern also has a hem band. And so if I wanted to put a hem at the lower edge of my dress, I could actually use that pattern as well because it has a hem band for a top, but you can definitely do it for a dress or for your top. I do like this pattern. It's very similar to that Simplicity S9385 with the exception that the Simplicity S9385 does not have a dress variation, but you can very well lengthen your top and get something very similar, and vice versa for this one. It doesn't have a turtleneck variation in this one, but you can definitely create one or take one from a pattern that you already have, which I did. So really enjoyed that whole process with it and seeing how both of those pattern pieces stack up against how I can wear them, like in terms of the size and the bust and those things. And it's very, very similar in terms of style and also in terms of size. As you can see with this top here, you get gathers on the shoulder head. The same with the Simplicity S9385, you get gathers on the shoulder head. You do have a few more pattern pieces in that Simplicity S9385. And so if you're at a stage where you're playing with trying to shorten and lengthen pattern pieces or turning tops into dresses, that Simplicity 9385 would be a very great pattern to start with for you to be able to do something like that, because it has more pattern pieces. You get those bands. You get the sleeve band, the neck band, and you also get the hem band in that pattern. And so I would definitely encourage you to get a copy of that one before you purchase this one, because you do get more and you don't have to worry about creating those pattern pieces or going to go find those pattern pieces. All you have to do is lengthen the top to get that variation. So I really do like that about the Simplicity 9385. But I just wanted to try something different and see if this one was, in terms of size, if it was going to be similar or different, or just wanted to see what the pattern had to offer. And so that's why I chose this one. So you do also have for view B. So view A is a 3/4 length sleeve. And again, you have to purchase the rib cuff and the hem band. For view B, same thing. You do have a longer sleeve instead of a 3/4 length sleeve. And you also have to purchase that ribbed cuff and also the hem band. And then for view C, which is your dress, this is your knee length dress. You can see on the models are always going to be taller than me. I would say she's anywhere between maybe 5'5", 5'7", maybe even 5'8". So her dress goes above her knee. My dress, before I did any cuts or anything like that, it went well below my knee by maybe about 2 or 3 inches. So just keep that in mind. The pattern in terms of length is a little bit longer than what you see on the pattern if you are my height, or I would say anywhere between 5 foot or shorter, or 5 to about 5'3". You're going to need to shorten it if you want to have an above knee length variation. Now for my second variation, I did have an inspiration in mind. This is a tan and black houndstooth or dog's tooth fabric that I purchased from Joann. And for this one, I had a few different inspirations in mind. So on the Lime and Lush or Lime Lush website, I saw this black and coffee houndstooth fabric sweater dress. And it's so cute. And it retails for $53. And I paid about a little bit like half of that, maybe less than half of that, because my fabric, I got 1.5 yards of fabric, and I think it ended up costing me about $18, maybe $20 after tax. And so I paid half as much, or less, I should say, than buying this version here. Now, obviously, the colors are different, and the style is a little bit different as well. So unfortunately, when I went to Joann, they only had 1.5 yards left. I was very sad about it. And it took me some time to get that fabric. I kept sitting on it and thinking, should I get this fabric? I don't know if I'm going to make something with it yet. And so in the process of me second guessing myself, they sold, it was a very popular piece. And so they sold quite a bit. They didn't get any more in. And so I had to work with the 1.5 yard piece, hence the shorter sleeve. So my variation does not look identical to many of the inspirations that I've had because I didn't have enough fabric, but I did use 1.5 yards to create this dress. So there is another dress on, two dresses actually on Shein, and this is a white and tan houndstooth and a black and white houndstooth. So there are two separate sweater dresses. So one you can get, it's white and tan, and the other one is black and white. And I really love the way that they styled the model in the white and tan with those gorgeous boots. I absolutely love that variation there. The Shein variations are about somewhere between $15 and $20. So I didn't necessarily save money in that regard, but it's really nice to know that I have something that I tailored to my body, and also the weight, and I feel like the quality of the fabric is probably going to be a little bit better than the Shein variation anyway. So really like that. And then there's this one dress that I love. This one's on the OrianaLifestyle.com website. And this one you can get in, they have two different colors. There's brown, and then there's black, and I absolutely love that one as well. And this one retails for $73. So absolutely loved all those variations, and I wanted to try to recreate a sweater dress that looked similar to that in the houndstooth. So really glad that I made that one there. And for this dress, I went down a size. So, no, I'm sorry. So for the first dress, I did a size 16, 43 and a quarter inch for the bust, waist, and hips. And then for the size, and for the second variation, I did the size 16 as well, 43 and a quarter. And for the waist, hips, and bust. For this one, I did shorten the dress by, I think, 3 inches because I was only working with 1.5 yards of fabric. And so I had to try and make that up somehow because the pattern does call for, you can get away with 1.5 yards of fabric if you shorten your skirt. But just be mindful that, you know, it's going to be, it just depends on how you lay out your pattern pieces as well as what you're trying to achieve. If you want a shorter dress or a longer dress, so you have to keep that all in mind. But you can get away with 1.5 yards of fabric if you do a short sleeve variation and a knee length variation or slightly above the knee. I did have enough fabric like on the side to create a mock turtleneck. I definitely could have created a regular neckline with a band as you see here, but I wanted to use the rest of that fabric because it was a little bit pricey. And so I decided to go ahead and make a turtleneck, and the turtleneck pattern, as I mentioned before, I got out of the Simplicity 83 or 9385 pattern. I also decided to put a little bit of a rib band on this one. And so I just had some rib in my stash, and I used that black rib to put on the lower edge of my 3/4 length sleeve. So really love that one. I love the gathers. I love the neckline. The turtleneck is a little bit more snug than I like. However, it's still fine, and I love the way that it looks, and it's one of my favorite dresses so far of the season. And then lastly, I wanted to make a variation of this gorgeous dress by The Frame, and I'll put it here. I saw this one on Neiman Marcus when I was doing the Soda Trends series, and I was sharing with you guys all these different inspiration looks and things that you could create. So I fell in love with that one. And as you can see, the dress that I have on closely resembles that abstract print. And when I saw that, I was like, ooh, I have fabric in my stash that looks almost identical to this. The only difference is I was working with a Ponte. So this is a Ponte knit. And the dress by The Frame is a sweater knit fabric. I would have loved it if this was a sweater knit, but it's a Ponte. It was what I was working with. And so this whole idea with this pattern resonated from that. It stemmed from that actual inspiration picture. And then I kind of worked my way around. And as I found that I loved the pattern, I started to collect different inspirations and different sweater dress ideas, and then making other sweater dresses with this pattern because I absolutely love the pattern. So this abstract print, like I said before, it's a Ponte, and I purchased it from Zulu Fabrics a couple years ago. I did have 2 yards of this, and so I could make the long sleeve. I have a cuff on the lower edge of my sleeve. I did the band instead of the turtleneck for this one because this is a Ponte knit, and I just wanted something that looked a little bit more like the inspiration that I shared with you here. I do have gathers on my sleeve head, whereas the frame dress does not have gathers on the sleeve head, and that frame dress is actually a mini skirt. I have I think this one goes a little bit below the knee. I decided to keep this one a little bit longer instead of shortening it because I had the fabric that I could actually use and I didn't want to waste my fabric. So that frame dress retails for $124. So I saved about $105 creating my own variation. Absolutely love this one. This one, I wanted it to be a little bit more closer in silhouette because the frame dress is a little bit closer, but I didn't want it as snatched in and cinched in as that dress because I don't really have the body like she does. But I wanted to have a little bit more of a closer silhouette. So I went down to the size 14 for this one. And also keep in mind, I'm working with Ponte. And so this is going to be a little bit closer to the body than the sweater dress fabrics that I was working with previously. And so I kept that in mind as well. And so I started out with the 16 to see if the Ponte was going to be looser, or if it was going to, not have as, if it was going to not have as much give as the previous one. And so once I tested the 16, I went down to the size 14 for this. And the size 14 is approximately 41 inches, 41 3/4 of an inch for the waist, the bust, and the hips. So really love the way that all three of these turned out. I know this is a little bit longer of a video when in regards to my pattern reviews anyway, but I wanted to make sure that I gave you details of how I made each one of these and the inspiration behind each one of these. I enjoyed each one of these projects, and I'm so thrilled to have 3 different dresses now that I can actually wear throughout the winter month. Now this again is a Ponte knit, so it's a little bit light in weight, and so I would definitely put a jacket over it, or maybe a fur, maybe wear some boots with it and make it a little bit more warmer. The Houndstooth is a sweater knit, and I was surprised to learn that it is a double layered sweater knit. I was so happy when I saw that. And so that one's really warm. That's one of the reasons why I decided to wear this one, because I think I would have been too hot in that, because it's very warm. It's double layered. I wish I could have gotten a long sleeve out of it. If I find some more of that fabric, maybe online, maybe I will deconstruct the sleeve and do a long sleeve, because I do think that would make for a very nice, warm, long sweater knit dress. So anyway, that is what I have made for the Sew the Trend series. Let me know in the comment section below if you're participating in the challenge, and if you are, what you're making. We only have a couple more weeks here. Please let me know what you're making. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure that you give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I look forward to hearing from you in the comments, and I will talk to you all in the next video. Bye.